Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pillar to Post. I am your host, Pete Wall. Now today we are going to be discussing news and rumors in the wrestling world. But before we get into that, I want to remind you, tonight at 8 p.m., Shooting from the Hip goes live. That is myself, Pete Wall, and my co-host, Red Rayner. We're going to talk about what's gone down in the wrestling world this week, what our thoughts were on Monday Night Raw, Tuesday SmackDown, and NXT on Wednesday. Also, we're going to try and have a little bit of fun, just do things our own little way. But like I said, check us out 8 p.m. tonight here on YouTube on the Pillar to Post channel. Now, my VidMe followers, make sure you come over to YouTube at 8 p.m. tonight, because that's when Shooting from the Hip goes live. Last week, Red was down sick. He was having some health issues. This week, I've been talking to him all week. He sounds good. He's ready to go. So, it will be 2+ hours of Shooting from the Hip tonight. Make sure you are there. Also, before we continue, today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Now, you can get your choice of 180,000 plus books here at audible.com simply by going to www.audibletrial.com/Pillar to Post. Now, because Audible is sponsoring Pillar to Post, you get an offer as well. You get 30-day free trial, also of your very own choice of any audiobook, free. One book, free. That is right. So, not only do you get to test their site out for 30 days for free, you also get a free audiobook of your choosing. Now, I'm a fantasy fiction guy. That's where I lean to. But I'm also looking into getting the new AJ Lee, Crazy is My Superpower. You can also go for other wrestling books as well. They've got tons of autobiographies of wrestlers. They've got great books, great stories within them. But then they've got everything else for you as well. Make sure you check them out at audibletrial.com/Pillar to Post. That link will be in the description below. So make sure you take advantage of this deal, because it doesn't just help me, it helps you, and it helps Audible all grow as one. So let's move on to the news. Now, Bryan and Brie recently welcomed their baby daughter into the world. I want to give a congratulations out to Brie and Bryan. WWE.com revealed that Brie and Bryan welcomed their daughter, Birdie Jo Danielson, on Tuesday, May 9th at 11:58 p.m. She was born at 8 pounds, 10 ounces, and 21 inches. There is no better feeling in the world than meeting your daughter, Brie told WWE.com. I can't even express the overwhelming joy and love that Bryan and I are feeling. Now we know what parents mean about the love you feel when you first meet your child. Thank you all for your thoughts and prayers on the safety of Birdie coming into this world. Now, as noted, the due date was earlier this month, and Birdie arrived 11 days late. Now, the entire WWE universe has responded to this. They've all sent their outpouring love and, congratulations out to the couple. As do I. Nothing better than welcoming your child into the world. It is a big, big feeling. There is also another couple in WWE that also had a baby recently, and that was spoken of yesterday. So I'll get to that in a little bit. Now, backstage news on Roman Reigns' next program. Now, we all know that schedules are up for change, especially when injuries come around. And Braun Strowman elbow injury came at a very bad time in this feud between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. Now, Roman Reigns was scheduled to feud with Braun Strowman through the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. He will be facing The Miz in his next program. Now, there's also altering rumors as well that he could be feuding with Bray Wyatt. Nothing seems really clear right now, but then what is in WWE? I know one thing's for clear, NXT is kicking both their asses because they put on better product. Now, going back to the story, the feud was originally planned to begin after Extreme Rules, where Roman was set to lose an ambulance match against Braun Strowman. From there, Strowman would have moved on to Brock Lesnar and Reigns to The Miz. With Strowman out of action, the Reigns versus Miz feud is set to begin sooner than planned. Our sources also mentioned that original plan for Roman Reigns to win the Intercontinental Championship from Miz, with the idea being that when Roman challenges Lesnar at WrestleMania 34, the Universal Championship will be the only championship he hasn't won. It is not known if the WWE still plans to make Reigns versus Miz an Intercontinental title program, though. The Miz is set to challenge Dean Ambrose for Intercontinental Championship this Monday on Raw, so we could very likely see that title move hands this coming Monday. It's up for grabs, people. They have no idea what they want right now. Now, they're talking about this instance where, Roman Reigns is possibly moving into a new feud with The Miz, which I think kind of sucks. But they're going to feed Roman Reigns all the energy they can to get him over with the fans, as well as make the rivalry between him and Brock Lesnar even bigger by adding an Intercontinental title with this whole feud. So, he'd go against Brock Lesnar with the Intercontinental title and then possibly win the Universal title. They want to make him this superstar that is unbelievable in the end, and nobody is really gravitating towards it. They're sick of it. This guy is going to continue being pushed down our throats if we like it or not. Now, this segment with him and Braun Strowman has been going over really well. He's been looking better. He's been actually taking bumps and actually selling them, which we don't see very often. And people have been appreciating that. But if they're going to take that away and have him start going over on everyone all over again, people are going to really, really get loud about their hatred towards Roman Reigns. I don't want to see that happen because I don't hate the man. I hate the push. I hate the creative behind the man. That's what I hate about Roman Reigns. Don't hate the man personally because there's no reason to hate him. It's WWE, their creative machine, and the push that they go and put behind certain people that clearly need more work but not getting it. Now we're going to move on. Now we've got backstage news on recent vignettes working for WWE NXT star, and I'm talking about Roderick Strong. And I did appreciate these vignettes because they really did work for him. They really spoke about his character as a person, as a real person, not just the wrestler. Now, this source is from Wrestling Observer Newsletter. There's been an extremely positive reaction to the Roderick Strong vignettes that aired on WWE NXT TV over the past few weeks, according to the Wrestling Observer Newsletter. I agree, they've been great. I love seeing them. Now, there's a feeling that there has been a huge difference in the reactions Strong has been receiving at NXT live events, given the impression that WWE's experiment to see if vignettes are still effective was answered positively. Now, Strong made his NXT debut in the fall of 2016 and made it clear that his goal was the NXT title. He lost a number one contenders match to Hideo Itami on this week's show and was attacked by Sanity after the show ended. It appears he will end the feud with Sanity at NXT TakeOver Chicago later this month. Now, Strong and Marina Shafir of MMA's Four Horsewomen fame welcomed their first child together in late April, a boy named Troy Lindsay. the happy couple were featured in the vignettes that aired on NXT TV. So, I'm going to be honest, I did like the vignettes. I loved the focus on his upbringing, the trials and tribulations he had to go through, especially with family and getting to where he wanted to be. That's something that it really connected with me because I've been in similar situations. So seeing that really helps you connect with the wrestler. And some of these wrestlers, I think, kind of need that extra little added attention to them in order for people to gravitate towards them better. We all know that Roderick Strong is kind of similar to Storm. Lance Storm. If you guys remember Lance Storm, he is a very stoic, very straight-faced kind of guy. And Roderick Strong is very similar when he's in that ring. He's very, very stone cold serious, and he's all about the action. And I like that about him. But it's also good to know a little bit about his background to help me connect with him a little bit more. It did work. I appreciate the attention towards him. And I do see him after last night's #1 contenders match. I do see him as a future NXT champion. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, going on, there was talk about his attack, him being attacked after NXT. So, after NXT went off air, he was attacked by Sanity. Now, Sanity attacked Strong after the show went off the air. Strong fought off Eric Young and Alexander Wolf before Killian Dane floored him, and the triple team began while Nikki Cross looked on. Now, Strong recovers and later tells NXT General Manager William Regal that he wants Sanity, presumably setting up for TakeOver in Chicago. So I do like that. As he gets a spot at TakeOver Chicago. He needs that. He needs to be in those main events. He needs to be out in front of the fans. People love him. They're going to embrace him now that they know a little bit more about him. And now that Sanity's going after him again, it should pick up his, pick steam up before him heading into the main events. Now we got some rumors for the day. In a recent Q&A, which I reported on one of my prior shows, Linda McMahon was quoted as saying she doubts the recently announced Vince McMahon biopic will ever see the light of day. Can't really disagree with her because she is in political office, and having some dirty laundry aired out of Vince McMahon could hinder her progress as she's in the political office. Now, a lot of fans were saying that a decent biopic of Vince McMahon probably wouldn't take place until he passed away. That way, they could get really serious into his backstory, all the dirty laundry and trouble that has flagged the McMahon family. That probably won't happen until he's dead. I agree. Looks like the kickoff matches will not be on the WrestleMania 33 DVD release, adding a new wrinkle to the fan revolt that got the SmackDown Women's title bout moved to the main event card this year. Now, I can kind of agree, but you look at it this way. They have it on their website, www.com. They have all the pre-shows on there. There's like 77,000 or 77 million people that have watched these videos of the pre-show this year from WrestleMania. Does it really need to be on? I don't know. Now, there's a lot of fans that look at it and say, well, you look at the match between Austin Aries and Neville, and you compare it to the main event, which was Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, and you could obviously switch the two because the main event sucked balls, and the Cruiserweight match clearly outdid the performance of the main event. So yeah, I can kind of take it from both ways. Now, they do have those pre-matches or pre-show matches on the WWE channel as well as their website, So I don't know if it really makes a difference or not. There's news. WWE officials are extremely high on Aleister Black, and his stay in NXT may not be a long one. A couple of problems with this. He is very new. I love the guy to death. He's got an intensity about him that makes you want to watch what he's going to do in the ring. Now, I want to see more of him. I want to actually hear him talk. I want to actually see him in longer matches. I want to see him in higher profile matches in NXT before we see him come up to the main roster. I don't want this to be his gimmick where he's like a 2-minute, match man. I don't want to see that. And I clearly do not want to see him in the cruiserweights. They made it very clear that he is 205 pounds this week. And that scares the fuck out of me hearing that weight, because they could just as easily move him into the cruiserweight division to elevate the 205 live show. And no, by God, I do not want to see Aleister Black in the cruiserweight division. I want to see him on SmackDown kicking ass and, giving us what we want to see. But until then, he clearly needs to have more time in NXT. I want to see him become champion there before he gets brought up. His character, he needs to be a little bit more fleshed out. We don't know enough about him. Now, some people could say that's a good thing. A lot of people would say, well, we do know him as Tommy End. Yes, that's Tommy End from the independent scene. He is now Aleister Black in WWE. We know nothing about this character yet. So let's build him up slowly. Let's bring him up to the heights of the main event on NXT and champion, and have his character grow, as well as, see him in higher profile matches that last longer than 2 minutes. Now, fourth on the list, in addition to their previously reported interest in Mia Jade Yim, WWE is also targeting her TNA stablemate, Marty Bell, for the women's tournament. So they're still looking for women for the women's tournament. That's going to be ongoing till the summer. Probably going to be hell of a thing to find the right women for this tournament to make it exciting. They want to make it exciting like the Cruiserweight Challenge was and the UK tournament was. We've got to have that for the women. It's got to be a high-profile event. Now, Wednesday night's Total Divas season finale may have been the last time Eva Marie ever appears on WWE branded show. Now, I can't hate on that. Yes, she is a beautiful, attractive woman. Great set of tits. Nice ass, great body. She kind of resembles Jessica Rabbit. But does that make her one of the WWE loyal, and do we want to see her cringe-worthy wrestling and cringe-worthy promos? Absolutely not. Beauty does not negate talent. We need both. If they're not beautiful and talented, they don't need to be here. I'd rather see a woman like Chyna or Chyna-esque look and experience and power rather than a beautiful model that knows absolutely nothing about the wrestling business and can't even do a hold if it were to save her life. Eva Marie is gone. Let's keep her that way. We don't want to see any more of that. Unless she does porn. If she does porn, sure, why not? Here is an interesting article. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for president. Yes, it's been spoken about for a few years now, and it's being brought up once again. Even before there was a WWE Hall of Famer in the White House, people were intrigued by the idea of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson making a run for the highest office in the land. But since Donald Trump's proven someone with a sports entertainment background and no prior political experience can win a national election, folks are actually talking about the people's champ becoming commander-in-chief. You know what? I'm tired of seeing the movie stars in the White House. I'm not U.S., but what happens in the U.S. also reflects on what happens in Canada. I don't know why. I don't like seeing it. Keep the movie stars out. Bring real politicians in. politicians that actually care about the country and want to make it a better place, not the ones that just want to, rip it off and make it poorer than what it was before. Continuing on, though, the new feature on Johnson is the latest issue of GQ isn't going to quell speculation. Now, the story, ostensibly to promote his new movie, a R-rated comedy adaptation of the 90s television show Baywatch, spends a lot of time discussing Johnson's political aspirations and even gives us a glimpse at what candidate Rock might sound like. Before I continue, I will take a drink of coffee here, though. Now, asked if he would really give up his acting career, where he's become the highest paid movie star on the planet, for public service, he not only answered it in the affirmative, but tried to give an answer that indicates he's not taking the prospect as a joke. He goes, I think that it's a real possibility. A year ago, it started coming up more and more. There was a real sense of earnestness, which made me go home and think, let me really rethink my answer and make sure I am giving an answer that is truthful and also respectful. I didn't want to be flippant. We'll have 3 days off for a weekend. No taxes. Little joke there. He said, in addition to breaking down just how darn likable the guy is, Katie Weaver's article also clarifies Johnson is currently registered as an independent, was asked and turned down both Trump and Hillary Clinton's camp's requests for an endorsement last year, reveals he is against the president's so-called Muslim ban, identifies as a feminist, and really, really loves the troops. Now, as for what type of chief executive he'd be, here's his answer for what he'd like to see from a president, in particular the one he would hypothetically run against in 2020. The Rock goes on to say, I'd like to see a better leadership. I'd like to see a greater leadership. When there's a disagreement and you have a large group of people that you're in a disagreement with, for example, the media, I feel like it informs me that I could be better. We all have issues, and we all got to work out our shit. And I feel like one of the qualities of a great leader is not shutting people out. I miss that part. Even if we disagree, we've got to figure it out. Because otherwise, I feel as an American, all I hear and all I see in the example you're setting is, now I'm shutting you out and you can't come. Now, disagreement informs us the responsibility as a president. I would take responsibility for everyone, especially when you disagree with me. If there's a large number of people disagreeing, there might be something I'm not seeing. So let me see it. Let me understand it. Now, while President Rock is still probably a long shot, not because he wouldn't win, but because I'm not convinced Johnson has time for it and think he's probably too smart to really take it on, it's actually possible. It's certainly a thing people are going to continue to talk about. My thoughts, well, I already gave my thoughts. But the fans also had a reaction to The Rock being the president of the United States. And here is what they had to say. Rock / Tebow 2020, thumbs up. Next one, Mr. Wushu. I thought American politics had already hit rock bottom. Next one, HLC 1221. Know your role and take my rec. M. Gomez. Someone find and link that interview from circa 98. I guess there was another interview about him becoming president. Let's see. By Cole Minor. As long as he enters the State of the Union to his entrance music and says, if you smell what The Rock is cooking at the end of every speech, then I'll vote for him. King Andrew had this to say, hey, Supreme Court, what do you think about the new law I passed? It doesn't matter what you think. A lot of people having fun with this. Now, next one was Andrew E.S., The Hardest Pass, Rocky, the performer. Love him to death. Dwayne, the politician, no. Flat no. Get experience in local governance first as a city councilman or something. $1 million smile and fun personality don't solve real complicated issues that affect everyday people. I have no doubt that he could possibly win, but that's not automatically a good thing. Blue blob for life. Agree, but we might just be beyond the point in our history where we have qualified, experienced leaders. The day of the figurehead is already here. The Bear Shmoo. What you guys need is a monarchy. All the tabloid drama and celebrity, none of the actual power. And the best thing is, they don't take up 4 months, or they don't take up months of your TV time every 4 years getting elected. You've already had it go with all your Clintons and Bushes. It's time for the Samoan Anoi family to kick it up a notch. So those were the fan reactions. It got a little bit racial too. I did not want to have that on there. So clearly the fans having fun with this whole idea of The Rock being Prez. I don't see it as a good thing. He does need political experience before entering. Look at all the unhappy people in the U.S. right now that Trump is in. I don't know. I'm not a U.S. citizen. I don't know what they're going through. So I don't have really much to say on it being a Canadian. But it is what it is. Now, as I said earlier, there was another birth in the locker room here in WWE, and it was from Tough Enough's Sarah Lee and NXT's Wesley Blake. They welcome a daughter into the world. So right around the time she was released by WWE in fall of 2016, Tough Enough Season 6 co-winner Sarah Lee and former NXT Tag Champ Wesley Blake revealed they were expecting their first child. Now, roughly 9 months later, as these things tend to work out, Lee's announced she gave birth to their daughter Piper last Monday, May 1st. So another congratulations out to another newly made family. Now I want you guys to remember, check out audible.com and use my link in the description below, www.audibletrial.com/pillar to post. Make sure you take advantage of this opportunity. Also remember, tonight, 8 p.m., live on youtube.com here on Pillar to Post. Make sure you arrive because we are going live with Shooting from the Hip. I will see you there with Red Rainer, and we're going to have some fucking fun tonight, people. So make sure you're there and enjoy the experience that is Shooting from the Hip, as well as Pillar to Post and Heavyweight Mark. All that information will be in the description below. Be there.